Welcome to you all. Nice to be here again. Third time in the Bay Area. Of course, today is just we'll have a few minutes of question and answer. Anybody wants to ask any question, you are welcome. You can start. For the sake of new people, I can give a small introduction about me and my mission. I am born in South India, Tiruvannamalai, a spiritual nerve center, home of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, and inspired by one of his disciples, Annamalai Swamigal. And I had my first spiritual experience when I was 12 and 17. I entered into the sannyas life, went to north and wandered length and breadth of India for long 9 years, searching for masters and the place to meditate and techniques. By divine grace, search ended in 2000 January by ultimate experience, what I call Nityananda state. Then in 2003, we inaugurated the meditation movement, Dhyana Peetham, in India, to spread the meditation and the individual transformation. Now it has got 300 centers in 15 countries and touched millions of people. 700 healers are spreading meditation and healing all over the world. And hundreds of meditation camps are conducted. Its nerve center is in Bangalore, Bidadi. Now I am here third time in Bay Area. To do the meditation program. Tomorrow we will be having Shakti Spurana, a meditation program related to 3 layers of the body, 3 states of our being, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, related to physical, mental and causal body. So, you are welcome with any questions. Yes.
Yeah, I'm quite famous in asking questions. So
That's nice.
I really didn't have any questions, but for the benefit of things, a lot of people usually don't get it. And since I know you so well by now, I went to India.
See, the questions by Arjuna is none of them are Arjuna's questions.
Yeah.
Actually, Arjuna knows for sure, even if he does not question, Krishna will take care. It is for the sake of others, he put the questions, so you can also.
That's really became true right now. Anyway, I went to India, and this is a very good area for spirituality, and I'm following you for last 3 years. I really don't, so I could not have any real question. But the thing is, except you, Swamiji, everywhere I went, they taught me meditation. And before I was leaving, they told me, Raj, don't follow any other path. And it has happened not once, not twice, but thrice. So here it did not happen. You said go. My question is spirituality additive? Could you have 3 different programs, one in the morning, one in the lunchtime, one in the... Could you add it, or would it interfere with each other? That's
One thing, the real spiritual programs never interferes with each other, because all will be towards one goal. It will only complement to each other. See, when you design a technique, a real masters, they design techniques in such a way, it will never contradict other things. It will always complement. Only when you want to create a brand, only when you want to have a trademark, only when you want to have a business, you create techniques such a way, and you continuously teach people, don't go here, don't go there, don't go here, don't go there, and you create a guilt on them, guilt in them. That's one of the, according to me, one of the business technique to create the whole thing into a organization. The problem is, in the ancient time, our religion was never organized. At least Sanatana Dharma was never organized. In the modern day, when we get organized, these all problems usually starts. At least from my experience I can say, anything real spirituality will never create any contradiction. It will only add, it will only complement each other. I always tell people come and ask me, Swamiji, can I go here, can I go there? I tell, not only you can go, I recommend, go around, pluck flowers from all the garden and have a beautiful bouquet. One more thing, the problem, why people say don't go there, they are not confident enough on their stuff. When you don't have enough confidence on the stuff which you are giving, naturally you say don't go to the other shop. It's not like a shop. It's more something to do with life. It is something to do with your flowering. So, according to me, everyone has to try at least some 5-6 tradition. Try 5-6 tradition. Then something will click which is necessary for you, which will suit your mind, attitude. Then go deep in the tradition. When you go deep in the tradition also, there is no need to exclude the other things. Whenever you find something which adds more joy and juice in your life, imbibe it. Surely that will only make you more rich. That will only make you more joyful, more happy. One more thing, Ramakrishna says beautifully. Ramakrishna was learning under Bhairavi Brahmani, a great tantric master. Ramakrishna, when he follows somebody, he will follow totally. But when one more Vedantic master, Totapuri, came into his life, Bhairavi said that don't go to him. Simply Ramakrishna refused. No, I will go. And not only he went, and the outcome, after he went to the Totapuri, he understood. Totapuri can add something more to him. See, every master can, every teaching, every master, every truth can add something more into your life. One more thing. Even if you take inspiration from 10 masters, even if you get 10 blows, your ego will not die. You think it can be killed by one master and one blow. So, it takes enough of effort. It takes too much to become enlightened. So, never, close yourself. And I always tell people, it is your search which has led you to me. If you don't have search, you would have never come to me. So why do you kill the search? Never kill the search. Search has to be enriched. It has to be enriched. I always tell the people, even in my Healer's Initiation book you can read, there is a clear statement. Anywhere you want, go and try to get all the possible, all the best things and add your life more and more. Add more and more joy and bliss in your life. And one strange thing, I always tell people, go wherever you want, wherever it is possible, and people don't go. And the people who say, don't go, naturally they move from them. I do not know why the paradoxical thing. I have always seen, people don't go, but I tell them, no, wherever it is possible, whatever way you can learn, pick up. See, updating your life is a basic need. updating your life and updating your intelligence is a basic need. Whenever it is possible, wherever it is possible, whatever way it is possible, continue to do. Continue to do. That is one of the important thing. Of course, you can say that it's one of an important teaching. Go wherever it is possible and take things. Make your life more joyful, more rich, more happy. You see, the master-disciple relationship is more like a love affair, not like a marriage. The moment it becomes marriage, it is dead. The moment it becomes marriage, it is dead. I always tell people, God sent tornado, man-made, safe homes. What do you call for tornado? What do you mean? That underground? Basements. There is no technical term.
Shelter.
To escape shelter house. Shelter houses. God has sent fire, man-made fire engines. God sent love, man-made marriages. So the relationship with master should be more like a love affair. It should be more sharing. See, the moment you make something as a commitment, whole thing looks very ugly, and the whole thing becomes the whole the juice is lost. Then you can create a big tome, big organization, but not the living flowers. So let the life be a living flower. Let the life be more like a joy, more bliss. Let your life be continuously updated. Let you grow. That is the one and only way. The more you feel fearful, the more you feel low self-esteem or low in your confidence, only then you say, don't go here, don't go there, don't go anywhere else. See, I have seen an advertisement in Sky Mall, the Fry Electronics advertisement. They say, you can't beat our price. If you give information about our lower price or the lower quotation, we will beat it up immediately. So their confidence. See, they have so much of confidence. They say, go round, you can see. Only when you don't have confidence, you put, don't look here, don't look there. And one more thing, people are enough and people are intelligent nowadays. Even if you say don't go here and there, nobody is going to listen. And these are all olden ideas. You see, in old time, those ideas are used. And when somebody has nothing to offer, naturally they create this type of rules. And one more problem. Till you become enlightened, you depend on others' support to feel you are a big person. I have seen one preacher, a popular preacher. I asked him, when I met him, he wanted some, of course, healing and counseling. And after taking that, I gave him the healing and the counseling. I was having a relaxed time, a few minutes with him. I just asked him. He was actually expressing, Swamiji, I am feeling that I am working too much. I want to take rest. I am not going to do anymore. I said, why do you first of all go so aggressively to preach? I know for sure you are not enjoying it. Why do you do it so aggressively? He says, Swamiji, unless I create more and more followers, I feel a little shaken. Only when I see so many people are following me, I feel, oh, when so many can believe, I am not a fool. He is the guy who creates the followers, and he says, because of them I feel very safe and confident. So whenever you feel safe and confident based on followers, naturally you create a rule, don't go here, don't go there. And you know, when somebody wants to become ashramite, I tell them, go around and see as many ashrams as possible. Then if you want to come and settle with me, come and settle with me. I send them. When I give sannyas or before initiating them into ashramite, I tell them, go around. Wherever you feel happy, go and be there. Which suits, be there. Where you feel more joyful, more ecstatic, be there. And learn from all over the world. There is a beautiful mantra from the Veda which says, let the great truths, let the great ideas come and shower on us from all the four corners of the world. They are not even telling from all the masters, they are telling from all the four corners of the world. Let the knowledge come and shower on us from all the four corners of the world. They have so much of open mind to take the knowledge from all the four corners of the world. That is why they lived like rishis. So, according to me, it is a basic discipline for any seeker. For any seeker, it is a basic discipline. If you ask me to give a basic vow for a seeker, go around at least 5-6 tradition. Look, just see. Don't have so much of laziness. Just go around and see. Something will click when you are meeting the right person, right guru, the right technique. Something will click. And even after clicking, there is no need to close all the options. When you are continuing your sadhana, look little more deeply. You see, first thing you need to understand, freedom is the basic condition for growth in any field. In any field. Freedom is the basic condition for growth. In the East, people have been given spiritual freedom. You can create your own God. You can have your own customized version of God. You can cut here and there and paste and have your own God. No problem at all. You can have 20 hands or 18 hands or 9 hands. If you suddenly feel, I think too many, let me edit and have only 2 hands. Everything is okay. You can have your own, you have your own freedom for meditation, technique. You can follow anything. Your wife can follow somebody else and you can follow some other guru. There is no problem. You can meditate on some God, your wife can meditate on some other God. No problem. You have a total freedom. That is why in the East they achieved in the spiritual way. In the West you have social freedom. Every other day you can change your lifestyle. No problem. In the West you have a social freedom. That is why they achieved wonderful society. Understand? As a society wise, they achieved a lot. There, in the spiritual way, they achieved a lot. In whichever field you have freedom, you will achieve. So, give anything to keep your freedom, but never give your freedom to keep anything. That's the only thing. Even in the spiritual field, Vivekananda says, freedom is the basic condition for any growth. And the very basic search in the spiritual field is freedom, inner freedom. If you carry a guilt, oh, I should not go here, I should not go there, how will you grow at all? So never carry any guilt. You are not a horse with a, what do you call that?
Blinders.
Blinders. You are not a horse with blinders. Don't look here, don't look there. No. I think the masters themselves don't believe the disciples. That is the problem. The disciples believe the masters, but these masters don't believe the disciples. That is why they always say, don't go here, don't go there. When you really believe the disciple, when you trust the disciple, you know, if he is supposed to be helped by me, he will be helped by me. That's all. People ask me, Swamiji, should I accept you as a guru? I tell them, never do that. If I am supposed to be your guru, you will never even have that question. Simply your heart will fall in love with me. You will simply feel the simplicity and you will simply feel the joy. You will simply feel the beauty. I always insist, have the maximum possible doubt. When you really meet an enlightened person, simply you will fall. You can't do anything. All your logic, all your doubt, everything will simply fall. So, better to have doubt so that you will not fall in ordinary teachers. You will not fall for ordinary teachers. You will not be attracted to ordinary teachers. The more you are doubt, you will find a right person. Because with doubt you become more matured. When you are matured, you see, a person who is 25 years old will never fall in love with a 3-year-old girl. No. When you are 25-year-old, you know your range. So doubt is the way to get mature. So the doubt will make you mature. Naturally, when you are matured, you will fall only in tune with your level. You will fall only in tune with the right master, with the right technique, with the right system. So according to me, doubt is the torch to enlightenment. Carry that. Continuously carry it. I always tell people, don't take me as your master just because you got healed by me. No. Healing is just a service like a doctor. Even if I don't want, my presence will heal. It is not that I heal by my will or by my thought. Even if you even if you don't like me, if you just sit in my presence, automatically healing will happen. So healing is not the scale to measure whether you should take me as a guru or not. No. If I am your guru, automatically, simply your heart will fall. All your doubts will disappear. Your whole being will simply fall in tune with me. That is the only one and only way to identify whether I am your master or not. And one more thing, I always tell this to the people. Never do anything by force. Never force yourself to accept me as a guru. Then you will torture me. You will hit my head. Actually, you will naturally hit my head. Never force yourself to accept me as a master. It is not the way to be done. And people ask me, Swamiji, should I meditate upon you? Again I tell them, no. If you will be helped by meditating on me, you will not be able to forget. Automatically it will happen. It is not a thing to be done. Nothing should be done. I don't believe in anything which is to be done. Simply it has to happen. Create only search in you, that's all. You need to do only one thing. Create more and more thirst and search, seeking in you. Automatically you will find the right pond, the pure water, whatever has to be done will simply happen. You need to do only one thing. Just create deep seeking, a deep search for the ultimate, or what we call reality, for the bliss, whatever you may think as an eternal thing. Have a deep search, have a deep seeking. You will see that everything falls in place. Thank you. Yes, question.
Swamiji, could you tell me a little more elaborate on the difference between the causal and the subtle body?
Subtle body is the body with which you dream. Physical body is the body which you are having now, made of flesh and bones. Subtle body is the body with which you dream. You are sleeping in San Jose, but suddenly you dream as if you have gone to India. Unless you have a body, you can't move, you can't do any work. If you are seeing something, enjoying something, you are having a body. So in the dream, with which body you are enjoying, that body is called subtle body. Causal body is a deep sleep state. It is not even a body. Just to understand, you give the same name body. It's a causal layer. It cannot be called as body, causal layer. That is the mental setup or the seed of the whole mind. That is what is called causal body. It's a total deep darkness according to your experience. It will be a deep darkness. When you go a little deep into meditation or experience, it will be a colorless space. We can't describe the colorless space, so we give the name deep darkness. In causal body there is no movement, but in subtle body there is a movement. Yes.
So is it the subtle body that collects impressions from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime?
No, causal body takes. Causal body only carries the impression.
And then through sadhana, technique, meditation, it's the purification of the
Purification happens in the causal body. It reflects on physical and subtle bodies. But the very process itself happens in causal body. Yes.
The causal bodies are the vasanas, samskaras that we carry from that time, life after life. Is it the causal body that is the...
Yes.
that
In the causal body only you carry your samskaras, vasanas. Actually, you don't even have to think that you are carrying life after life. You don't carry so much actually. It gives an impression that you need to work thousands of years to get rid of it. No. You carry just a simple program. Just a mental setup which can be broken at any time. Which can be broken just by a conscious decision. So you don't carry too much of things. And we always think we are carrying the every information which you gathered. No. Every information you don't gather. Whatever information your emotions are attached, to whatever memory your emotions are attached, only those things you carry. You don't carry everything.
What is the spiritual experience and enlightenment?
Spiritual experience is the glimpse. First time you see that glimpse. Enlightenment means you continuously stay in that same experience. It's like a spiritual experience means blueprint of enlightenment. And enlightenment means you stay in that same experience permanently. That's all.
So in that experience, deep sleep no longer affects awareness.
Experience of deep sleep.
Yes, no longer, deep sleep is like a veil that no longer affects awareness. So awareness is permanent.
Yes, awareness can never be affected by deep sleep. Tomorrow we are going to have a Shakti Spurana program based on this three body only. Vedanta says, Rishis have declared, you see, Rishis are the courageous people who first time dived deep into these three bodies. And I think first and last time. After that, nobody could go much more deeper than them because they have found the ultimate thing which can be declared. They say, just analyzing and understanding about these three bodies is more than enough to become enlightened. A simple understanding and analyzing. They don't even say meditation. No. They are not talking anything about meditation. Just a simple analyzing and understanding of these three layers is more than enough for enlightenment. A beautiful story. One Rishi, early morning, as soon as he woke up from bed, he started weeping. He is considered to be a great enlightened master. Nobody even imagined that Rishi can weep. But he is weeping. All his disciples gathered. What is this, Swamiji? You are an enlightened person. Why are you weeping? He said, no, I dreamt like as if I became a butterfly. And the disciples said, it's after all a dream. Why do you bother about it? Why should you bother so much about it? There is nothing wrong in it. Now you are all right. Forget. Rishi says, no, still I am confused. Whether I dreamt that I have become butterfly or the butterfly is dreaming now that it has become Rishi. I am not clear. See, there is no clarity, there is no clear thing. True. What he said is true. Be very clear. There is no clear scale that you are sitting in front of me and you are listening a discourse. There is every chance this can be a dream. There is every chance. You may say, no, Swamiji, I am pinching. In dream also you can pinch yourself. And say, I am alright. There is every chance you may be dreaming that you are meeting somebody called Nityananda Swami. So be very clear. There is no scale. There is no scale. When the disciples heard, there are few sharp disciples. The story says, the moment disciples heard, few became enlightened. See, actually, if you just analyze and understand this basic truth, whether the rishi has become butterfly or the butterfly is dreaming, it has become rishi. You will understand you are neither rishi nor butterfly, you are something beyond. Two things. If you analyze these three sarira, two things will happen. First thing, you will have the Shakti, you will have the power to make your dreams into reality, because the tremendous energy will be unleashed. Next thing, you will understand all the reality is just your dreams. You will have Shakti to make your dreams into reality, and you will have Buddhi to understand the reality is nothing but dreams. These two will happen if you analyze and understand the three layers. These two are the results. First, you will have the Shakti to make your dreams into reality, because the tremendous energy will be unleashed. Your energy which is getting wasted in dreams, in unnecessary dreams, will become a creative energy. You can harvest or harness the power of dreams. This is the first thing. That's why I call the program Shakti Spurana, the flowering of energy. Second thing, you will have the Buddhi, you will have the intelligence to understand whatever is reality is nothing but dream. Your dreams can become reality. You will understand your reality is nothing but a dream. Yes.
I have a question.
Krishna, tomorrow has.
I have a question about healing. And the question is, are your followers able to truly heal and cure someone? Or are people, is their perception changed? Or do they dream that they're healthy?
As long as they dream that they are diseased, they dream they are healed. If there is a disease is true, they are truly they are getting healed. Understand? For example, your disease is true or a dream? Tell me.
Oh, luckily I don't have a disease. It's
Okay.
theoretical.
All right. Somebody whom you say, you assume that somebody is getting healed. If you say that person is having a disease as a reality, in reality will be healed. If you say that person is having a dream in a disease in a dream he will be healed. That's all. It's the level of awareness.
So could you please comment on devotion, God, with respect to enlightenment or self-realization?
Devotion to one form of the God or to one name of the God naturally leads your whole being to be centered on that one form. If you can take a jump from that form, of course when you are sincere, naturally that form itself helps you to take jump into the formlessness, into the namelessness, into the energy. So naturally you are lead to, you enter into enlightenment. Devotion to one God, devotion to one name of God can be a technique when it is practiced sincerely towards enlightenment.
Okay, is the technique alone sufficient for enlightenment? Or
Yes, you see one thing, any one technique when you do it too much sincerely, it is enough to make you enlightened. But as far as your mind is concerned, we don't have sincerity, we don't have total sincerity. So better to have all four or five helps, all possible helps, little bit of kriya, little bit of meditation, little bit of devotion, have the help from all the four corners and go deep. You don't have so much of sincerity to become enlightened, just through one technique. So when you have less quality, less intensity, have more quantity. That will help you. Yes, you can stand up and one by one. Whomsoever wants to question can stand up, one by one I'll answer. Surely, Dukkha Harana is specially designed to disconnect yourself from the unnecessary emotions attached to the memories. So naturally, it will help you to come out of the depression, and especially this technique will awaken the Kundalini Shakti. Without any side effect, this technique will awaken the Kundalini Shakti. It's a time-tested and foolproof technique. One more thing, I have designed the technique in such a way, it's basically from Vijnanavara Tantra, taken it, and I have designed it in such a way, even if you miss few days, naturally none of you will do any technique regularly. After 2 days you will tell, no, Swamiji, I had a headache and I had some weekend, somebody has called me for a picnic, some reason you will give. Even if you miss like that, you will not have side effect. Techniques are, at least when I design a technique, I take this as an important thing. The modern lifestyle, I know the modern day lifestyle, sometimes you won't be able to do, sometimes naturally you will miss. So even if you miss, you will not have side effect. When you do, you will have effect. When you don't do, that's all. There will be no side effect. Such a way only techniques are designed. So take up this technique. Surely it will help you to arise the Kundalini Shakti. And not only that, it is done in such a safe way, you will never have any side effect except bliss and joy. Thank you.
I'm wondering, what is this enlightenment? Even if you have Kundalini and Samadhi and all that, still, if you are not free from sorrow, so that's not enlightenment, right?
Surely.
So
Forget about this whole idea of enlightenment. If you don't understand, you are saved by God. Actually, I tell you, if you don't know, if you don't understand about enlightenment, God saved you. Relax. Relax. Understand only one thing. Work towards how to be more blissful. That's enough.
But what I'm finding is, I'm finding that I can be blissful, but when I'm not blissful, the sorrow is even more than what it was before.
That's what I'm telling you. Start analyzing some method, some technique, which will not put you again and again in your low mood. Again and again in your low energy. That is, if you find that technique, that is more than enough. That is what I call such. One more thing. Let me give you a simple practical technique. Whenever you fall in low mood, don't resist the low mood. Stop resisting the low mood. Just go deep with it. Lock your door. Don't try to go out. Don't try to escape from yourself. Don't see TV. Don't go to beach. Don't take up the old newspaper again and again reading the same lines. Don't do anything. Just lock yourself. Sit. What is the depression? See. Just go with the depression. Feel as if you have become totally dull, dead. Decide, yes, I am depressed. Now no other way in my life. I am gone. Over. Now what can be done? Encourage the depression. You see, when you start supporting the depression, instead of resisting, you will see even depression cannot depress you. There will be a moment, your mind will get frightened. Your mind can be alive as long as you fight with it. It's like a Vali. There's a beautiful character in Ramayana, Vali. If you stand against him, half of your power will go to him. The moment you fight with your depression, you give half of your energy to depression. Don't do that. Just play the insider role. Start telling the depression, all right, now what can be done? Tell me. Now what can be done? Yes, I am depressed. I am in trouble. I am in conflict. I am in confusion. Nothing can be done. Just if you go, accept, in few minutes you will come out as a new person. Even depression cannot depress you.
No, that's true.
Even worry cannot worry you.
But it keeps coming again and again.
That is what,
No,
you see,
that's
when you say keeps coming again and again,
Yeah.
you mean you want to overcome it. Don't try to overcome. As long as you have the desire to overcome, you will create depression. Don't even have the desire to overcome. Don't even have the will to overcome. Drop even the will to overcome. Drop even the greed for the bliss. Just go with it. Then you will see it is just your attitude, your fight with your mind creates a depression. Stop fighting, you will see that there will be no depression. Simply there will be no depression. Fighting is the main important factor which continuously keeps the depression alive. Go with it. Just find yourself totally drowned into the depression. Feel, yes, what can be done? Yes, what can be done? Go with it. No, nothing can be done. Whatever happens, let it happen. Go with it. In few minutes you will come out. Just in few minutes you will come out as a new person. But don't even expect when I will come out. Don't expect that when I will come out. Again you will start creating the trouble. Just go with it. Relax. Stop fighting. You will see. Automatically you come out as a new, different person. Thank you.
When you said that those who, forgive me if I'm paraphrasing it wrong, what you said, what I heard was, those who have reached your stage, it's a dream, this is a dream. It's like, it's not real, it's illusion. It's like this projector screen. And the thoughts are like the films, and the screen is different. So when you were saying that, I thought, if many people, instead of, if I just wanted to be greedy for my own enlightenment, or I would actually want the joy so that the world would become a garden rather than this fight, all these horrible things happening in our world. So my thought was,
unless you became enlightened, you can't help anybody. Unless you became enlightened, you can't help anybody. Till you are, I say, unless you have the joy, how can you give it to others? If you have headache, naturally you can give only headache to others. If you have joy, then you can give joy to others. So first, understand to work, become enlightened. Automatically you will see your very existence on the planet Earth will be a blessing for the planet Earth. There is a beautiful idea. It is not even idea, truth. I can say it's a truth. There are few truths yet to become fact. They are not yet become fact by researchers, but they are truths. Let you first understand the difference between fact and the truth. Before the Newton, do you think apples are all flying? No. Before Newton also, apples are only falling. Gravitation was there. But Newton has made that as a theory. He has made it into facts and figures. Before Newton, gravitation theory was a truth. After Newton, it has become a fact. There are so many truths yet to become fact. This is one of the truth. In Bhagavata, disciple questions the Vyasa. Why after the Kali Yuga, Iron Age, God is allowing the planet Earth to exist? Why not destroy it? Vyasa says, no, enlightened people are going to walk on the planet Earth. Enlightened people will be appearing in the planet Earth. For their sake, planet Earth will be alive. Because of them, for them, planet Earth will be alive. It is, if you become enlightened, your very presence will be a blessing for the planet Earth. Your simple presence will be a blessing for planet Earth. One more thing. In Raipur, they did a research. A group of meditators, they gathered, and in the center of the city, they started the meditation. For 30 days, group meditation. They did not do any preaching. Just they started doing 30 days group meditation. Just in 30 days, there is a clear record. 70% of the city crime rate has come down. When they saw this, they started doing in other cities. 11 cities they conducted. In all 11 cities, minimum 60% of the crime rate has come down. The collective negativity gets nullified just by meditation. So when just by ordinary meditators meditation can do so much means the presence of a master is equivalent to thousands and thousands of people meditating. So just the presence nullifies the collective negativity. You can save the planet Earth by you becoming enlightened. That is the biggest help you can do. Never revolution, only evolution. Because enough of revolutions have happened. In last 3000 years, 5000 revolutions have happened on the planet Earth. We have done nothing but revolution. The guy who does revolution, the moment he gets the power, he becomes one more tradition. And the other guy starts revolution. All revolutions are nothing but just power hunger. Maybe a different names, but nothing but power hunger. Even in the name of spirituality, when you start the revolution, it's not going to work. All revolution is just power hunger. In the name of spirituality also, it will be just power hunger. So no revolution, only evolution. Evolve, come up, only that is going to help. Never revolution. Yes.
My question about your healing talent. Can you tell me, can you heal people who are not your followers and who don't follow your technique?
That is what I told in the beginning, Salma. To get healed, you don't need to follow me or follow my teachings at all.
So you just touch that person and he will become...
Of course. That is what we are doing. In India, it's like thousands and thousands of people come in mass. Two things. When you just get healed, you have the effect of healing. When you take up the meditation, you break the mental setup of creating the diseases again and again. That's all.
Can you tell me, from your experience, have you ever treated people with Parkinson or Alzheimer?
Of course, there are many.
Really?
There are many.
Okay.
If you want to know more about, there are so many people who got healed or experienced. You can see their experiences in our website. And people ask me, Swamiji, can you heal this disease, that disease? According to me, there is no disease. Only one thing, low energy, high energy, that's all. And people ask me, Swamiji, can you heal this disease? I tell them, I don't know the names. Don't ask me the names. Because only medical terms. What do I know the medical terms? I don't need the medical terms. If you have the name or if you don't have the name for the disease also, come. Let us work. Because according to me, only two things, energy and no energy. That's all. So energy there is no need for the energy to know the medical term for the disease. Yes.
Swami, for a very short time, so I got to ask that question. I may not get a chance again. There are certain meditation, especially one of them is you tense, you breathe, and then you say who, or you say and you breathe and then you do the Muladhara.
Now first,
are they both the same thing?
You see, first you awaken the Muladhara Chakra Shakti. Breathing, chaotic breathing.
Yeah, what I'm saying, there are two basically parallel techniques. Are they both the same technique?
No. Not same technique. We have only one technique to work on the Muladhara Chakra, Dukkha Harana. There is no basically same technique.
So I thought they both are Dukkha.
No. Same technique. There is only one technique. There is no two technique.
Why is it that every time somebody does Dukkha Harana, I know you are in India, but you are also here. I can guarantee that. The question is, I know it, but do you know it you are here?
This is a wonderful question. Now let me explain. There is a two being. One is the cosmic energy, which I call the Nityananda, enlightened one, which is energy, God, what you all see, darshan. So many people come and tell me, Swamiji, I saw you in the when I was meditating, I had your darshan, you told me this, you told me, you guided me in the dream, you healed me in the dream, all those things. All these things are done by that Nityananda. There is one more Nityananda who is handling this body. Not even one more Nityananda, it's like this kerchief is the cosmic Nityananda, whom you see in your dream, in your meditations. and this thread is Nityananda who is sitting with you and speaking. There are so many threads hanging in this. All the threads are masters. One thing, one small thing, the thread is actually directly connected to the kerchief, the cloth. So it can download the information. When you had the darshan, what I spoke to you, all those things simply I can download and tell you now. That can be done. But giving darshan is your sincerity. That pulls. Understand? This is a cosmic Nityananda, which covers the whole existence or universe or whatever you call, which runs the whole world, whole universe. That's what is enlightenment. That's what is energy. The man who is sitting and speaking in front of you is a one thread hanging in the kerchief. So actually, normally, I can't bring that whole information, whole memory into this body. The body cannot stand. So much of force, energy cannot be brought into this body. Body will not stand. But whenever it is necessary, when you had the vision, what was the talk or what was the information, what was the communication happened, what is the communion happened, that can be simply downloaded in this body and this can be brought and given to you.
At a future time also?
Yes. Are you able to understand?
Oh yes, I do.
So when you get the darshan, I will also be aware, but generally I don't bring the whole memory. Whenever it is necessary, just I bring the memory and share it. Otherwise, with so much of memory, with so much of energy, you will not be able to handle the body. Yes.
So, how is it that you're able to heal?
Please be seated. She is asking, how is that you are able to heal? Actually, I should ask you all, why are you all not healing? Because it is such a basic nature for the man to radiate the energy. And it is strange for me. For you it is strange that how I am healing. For me it is strange how you are all not able to heal. So now we will have to come to a clear understanding, which is the basic nature. Man as such, whether you believe or not, whether you want or not, whether you accept or not, you are God. You have only one choice, whether you can realize and enjoy, or you don't have to realize and suffer. You have choice only in these two levels. Whether you want to experience and enjoy, express, or you don't want to experience and express. Only in that level you have choice. But whether you are being God or not, you have no choice. It is already the case. Whether you believe or not, whether you accept or not, whether you want it or not, you are God. Whether you swim along with the current or against the current, you are in the water. You can't do anything. Understand this small story, beautiful story, Zen story. One fish was feeling really thirsty. It went to the father. Father, I am feeling thirsty. It's a strange kind of feeling. I don't know what to do. Father fish himself is hearing first time the word thirst. Feeling thirsty means what? No, I am feeling thirsty. Just now one of my friend came from the other village. He told me that you can feel thirsty. Somehow he learnt the word being thirsty. And he started uttering the word. The father said, I do not know how to quench your thirst. But there is a fish in our village, very old and intelligent. You can go and ask. That fish may help you. The fish went to the center of the village where the old fish is there. He asked, please help me. I am very thirsty. Somehow quench my thirst. That fish said, oh, it is too much. I also never heard the word being thirst. But I know there is an enlightened master fish. You can go there and he may be able to help you. Because it's always believed the enlightened people knows everything. And then the directions was given to the young seeker fish. Go straight for 200 kilometers, take left, then take right. There will be a big hillock inside a cave. The enlightened fish will be sitting, and you can see so many disciple fishes. And if you go and ask that fish, he may help you. Maybe enlightened fish Ananda or something. You can give a name. And the seeker fish started his journey sincerely, traveling, but without giving up. He traveled, finally reached the place where the enlightened fish is staying, and he saw in a beautiful cave enlightened fish sitting in a Padmasanam and all other disciple fishes listening the discourses. The new seeker fish entered inside and asked, Master, I am feeling thirsty. Can you quench my thirst? Enlightened fish gave simply a blow to the seeker fish. Seeker fish opened the mouth, water entered inside, and thirst got quenched. Simply the water entered inside, thirst got quenched. You see, it is just, whether you believe or not, fish is in the sea. But you need an enlightened master to give a blow. Now I tell you, slap your faces by yourself. Why do you want me to do? Why do you want somebody else to do? Just slap and get up. Understand? See, as long as you have a mental setup, you can't radiate the energy. You ask me, how do you heal? I tell you, not only I can radiate the energy, you can also radiate the energy. That is why 700 healers all over the world are healing. There are so many medical records in India, even the cancer patients getting cured, healed, not by me, by my healers. Not by me, the healers healing.
Let you experience the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you.